Hello and welcome back to the internet. It's been a long time since we've done one of these, but the question of the day today is, what's the dumbest rule your school ever enforced? Can't be standing around in groups more than 4 for gang mentality. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot like this in this video. They outlawed bracelets because there was an article in a magazine somewhere saying they advertised what sexual acts you were open for based on their color. Then someone tried to outlaw wristwatches for the same reason. You know, sometimes I think these school boards are a little bit too paranoid, and they might believe a little bit too much of what they hear. Not really a rule, but the toilet paper holders are outside of the stalls on the wall, so you have to calculate before taking a crap how much you need and hope that it was enough. Oh, okay, that's one of the strangest things I've ever heard. I'm sure they think that this will save toilet paper, but people will probably just end up taking way more than they need. They banned all backpacks and bags on campus. Students were expected to somehow carry everything they needed in hand. This was especially challenging if you had non-ideal locker placement. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a ridiculous rule, but thinking back to my middle school and high school, I don't think I really ever used a backpack. I always just carried binders around, and I used to wear those things out to death. We suddenly one day weren't allowed to stand in circles during recess because, and I quote, we could be dealing drugs. I will add that for years prior we had been standing in circles no problem. Next recess we stood in a triangle. Cue the principal going crazy. Next day we stood in a square. The principal kept us inside for a week, and threatened us all with detentions if we did it again. I believe their idea was open-ended circles, so they could see what we were doing. Still stupid. This one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't know about you guys. I mean, one thing I kind of wonder about is if some of these rules were posted in schools that are like in really dangerous areas. I guess I could kind of understand more strict rules around places like that, where kids are like bringing weapons to school. I got a suspension for holding a stick. The phone call with my mom went something like this. Hello, miss. Your son has been suspended. She says, oh my goodness, what did he do? Says, he was holding a stick. Did he hit someone with it? No, he was just holding it. So, did he threaten to hit someone with it? No, he just held it. So, did he refuse to put it down when you asked? No, he was very cooperative. So what did he do wrong? He held a stick. And I should be upset about that? Absolutely. You know we have a zero-tolerance policy. So, right, well, I'll talk with him. As you might guess, I did not get in trouble at home. Man, kids these days really need to learn their lesson. You can't just walk around holding sticks. Do they not realize how seriously dangerous that is? No farting in class. They would say, if you need to fart, then go to the toilet. But then 9 times out of 10, if you ask to go to the toilet, they'd say no. I mean, the real challenge is being able to hold it in until you get there. Zero tolerance. Just means that if someone starts a fight with you, you fight back as hard as you can. You're not going to get suspended for defending yourself anyway. Might as well make it worthwhile. See, so many of these are examples of people who try to make rules, but the rules just backfire. The more you try to micromanage people, the more you try to control people, the worse it's going to go for everybody. You have to wear your tie all the way home. Some sad teachers would stand on the main road away from the school and try to hand out detentions in presumably their own time. Well, I guess they really just want you to make the school look good. It took all the doors off the men's room bathroom stalls because of vandalism for 2 months. Well, you know, this one compared to that one where the toilet paper is outside the stall, I think in both cases you just wait till you get home to use the bathroom. In grade school, we weren't allowed to play on the playground equipment when it snowed. Eventually, we weren't allowed to play with snow or even go near it. I got in trouble for sitting in snow. This was in Minnesota where it snows half the year. Recess basically consisted of milling around the blacktop for 30 minutes. Yeah, I think rules like this kinda sprung up around when I was growing up too, because schools got super against kids ever having snowball fights. Like, I was at least allowed to, you know, roll up a big huge snowball or build a snowman or something, but don't you dare ever throw snow at somebody. My friend is an administrator at a private school in New Jersey, and the faculty has to sign in and out of the bathroom using the Google Sheets. 9 a.m., 10 minutes, male or female. Man, see, stuff like this is what makes me quit jobs, like seriously. When I was in junior school, a UK boarding school in the 80s, we were not allowed to say okay, as it was considered slang and not benefiting the young ladies and gentlemen that we should aspire to be. For context, junior school covered ages 5 to 13. We also had to have a comb and a handkerchief on us at all times. On top of that, we weren't allowed to have our hands in our pockets because it looks slovenly. See, I don't think I ever went anywhere that was that strict on people's appearance. Like, as long as you weren't showing too much skin, they didn't really care. Don't damage school property. Sounds reasonable enough, until you get detention for staining a chair after suddenly getting your period. Man, they just like to add insult to injury there. Playing cards at lunch was prohibited because it promoted gambling. I guess this is pretty clever. We can't be teaching kids go fish because then they can take that game to the casino. It wasn't really the rule that was dumb, but the reason for it. In my last year of high school, the school issued a rule that all students had to wear student IDs. If you didn't, you had to immediately go and pay for another ID. Well, you can see how many students may have saw this as a way to skip class. The reason for this was the school shootings that happened the previous year. The reasoning was that it would be easier to spot who is a student and who is not a student, to then see who has malicious intent. Except that most shooters were students, so... Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a story of somebody who snuck into a school and blended in as a student and then just waited for the perfect opportunity for that. I'm pretty sure you can pretty much always tell what's going on before the name tags have anything to do with it. No beads. Apparently they thought beaded jewelry was gang-related. Oh, there they go again with those gangs. I don't know, the whole concept of trying to ban anything that resembles gang activity. I mean, sure, it makes sense. Anytime somebody hears gang, they associate it with, like, oh man, people always killing each other. But it's like, if a bunch of kids are all, like, wearing the same shirt as, like, their own little club, it's like, sure, you could call that a gang, but is that really a problem? We once had a rule that we could only go to the bathroom during class. Not in the breaks. Only during class. Man, some of these just seem too much like a joke to even be real. Toilet paper rationing. This was in 97 or 98, by the way. Apparently the high school girls' room was going through too much toilet paper, so the dean, a woman, stood outside the door and distributed a few squares of one-ply institutional toilet paper to us as we went in. If she noticed the toilet paper on the floor, our ration got cut down. If we asked for more for bigger jobs, we were told to save it for home. There were several episodes of girls stuck in stalls until friends could beg for more toilet paper, because of period messes or unexpected bowel incidents. The dean wouldn't even hand it over. She would go in the bathroom and pass it a few squares at a time over the door. If you didn't catch it as it fell and it landed on the floor, well, that's your fault and you're not getting more. If you used more than she thought necessary, tough luck. Go to class with blood or crap on your body. It took about a week of extremely angry parents coming to the school and calling both the school and the school board, but we finally got our toilet paper back, unlimited. How did we celebrate? By TPing her car, of course. I mean, I laugh, but it sounds like just actual child abuse. Rule: no duct tape on clothing. The reason: some girls thought they could get past the no ripped jeans rule by covering the tears with duct tape. It became a fad, and everyone started doing it, so it got banned. A kid in my AP Literature class found a loophole and made an entire outfit out of red and black duct tape. I mean shorts, a t-shirt, and a jacket, and shoes. When the school tried to suspend him, they couldn't because the rule was no duct tape on clothes. It said nothing about clothes made out of duct tape. He won the argument and even wore the outfit a few more times to say F you to the school and the principals. See, that's something that I would do. If somebody gives you outrageous rules, sometimes you have to break them just to stand up against it. One particular professor at my university would lock the door a minute after class began. If you had to leave to go to the bathroom, you couldn't get back in. Somehow this ancient fossil is still teaching and pulling similar crap. Well, that's all the responses for this video. What's really funny when you read one after another is that you kind of get the impression that all of these rules were on one school. So I just imagine just this completely bizarre, dysfunctional school with all of these going on. I wish I had some stories along with this to share, but it's been so long since I've been in school I hardly even remember it. But anyways, that's all for our first episode back. I hope you guys saw Faye back here. I just bought her this cat tree a few weeks ago and she's been loving every minute of it. But if you want to watch cat videos, then go subscribe to Faye.